Your mind cannot see God. Your mind can never see God. You're probably startled to hear that statement, isn't it? Because since childhood, we have been going to places of worship. We have been going to our temples and mosques and churches, right? And gurdwaras. And we've gone to all our places of worship because we expect to connect with God. But your mind is really not the tool to see God. And let me explain that. And before, let me give you some examples so you can appreciate the point that I want to make. Imagine I am about to eat a pizza. And it is a very delicious pizza. It's the world's famous pizza. And I take a picture of the pizza and send it to you via my phone. Now you receive the picture and you can see that it looks like a delicious pizza. And I eat the pizza and I go, oh wow, this is the most tastiest pizza on earth. Now, even if I was recording my video and you were watching it, could you taste that pizza? Could you really experience that pizza? You cannot, regardless of how well I describe the pizza, until your tongue touches the pizza, you cannot have that experience. Looking at the picture, looking at my video, hearing my description is not going to give you the experience of the pizza. It is not possible. You need the sense of taste to experience the pizza. I'll give you quickly a couple of more examples. Music, if I am listening to music and I describe it, you will never understand it. You need the sense of hearing to appreciate the music, right? You could see me dancing, you could see me swaying, but it won't give you the sense until you hear it for yourself. I could be in the Himalayas and describe the Himalayas, but unless you come there, you cannot really appreciate the magnificence of the Himalayas. It is not possible. You have to be there, right? So we need the right sense. Without the right sense, you cannot experience. Just the description is not good enough. The mind is incapable of experiencing God. And you say, well, what is wrong with the mind? But that's like asking why the eyes cannot taste pizza. There is nothing wrong with the eyes. It's just not the right medium, the right tool. Similarly, the mind is not the tool for you to experience God. It is not going to happen. You can go to any corner of the earth. You can go to any corner of the universe. You cannot experience God with your mind. Why? Because the mind is a tool to deal with finite things. It is a tool to live in the material world and deal with the finite stuff. God and the universe is infinite. It is beyond the comprehension of the mind. The mind can never comprehend infinity. It is impossible. The mind can never get its arms around what is infinite. God and the universe are infinite. The mind cannot wrap its arms around that. So to see God, everything that we have heard about God, that we have understood about God, either through our parents or reading some scriptures or through religious leaders, every knowledge that we have about God is coming through our mind. And our mind is trying to understand the concept of God, the notion of God. And I see a lot of people on my post arguing back and forth, right? They're arguing from their concept of God based on what their mind is seeing. It's like two people arguing about the taste of the pizza when neither of them has actually eaten the pizza. I'm sorry. It's not funny. Those arguments are not funny. But this example is so funny. Can you imagine two people arguing over the taste of pizza and neither of them has ever eaten it? Now think about that. Whatever notion that we have about God in our mind, whatever we have learned or that somebody has told us, is limited because it is only through our mind, and our mind is not the right tool. So then you are probably asking and thinking, what is the right tool? The only way to experience this infinite God, this infinite universe, is to go beyond the mind. If the mind is meant for finite stuff, then you have to go beyond the mind. You have to transcend the mind. And what happens? And so how do you go beyond the mind? It's not like I go behind my head and you say, okay, I'm now beyond my mind. No, you don't go physically. The way you go beyond the mind is when you quiet your mind completely. When we sit in meditation and the mind becomes completely quiet, when it is thoughtless, when everything has become quiet, my own identity has become quiet, my ego has become quiet, who am I, what relationships I have, what assets I have, all of that has become quiet. I don't even remember I am Ravi. When I become completely quiet, then I begin to go beyond the mind. And I begin to experience there is this cosmic energy in all of us. We call it by many names. We call it by atma in Sanskrit, or soul, or spirit, or ruh, or whatever you want to call it. But there is an energy in us that is flowing. When the mind becomes completely quiet, this cosmic energy makes itself evident. We begin to experience that. And this cosmic energy is the handshake to the God universe. When we begin to experience this cosmic energy, that is when we begin to experience infinity. Because once the mind, the finite mind, is gone and is completely silent, we are no longer limited by space and time. We begin to experience infinite space and time. That's when we experience the infinite God. And if you have heard the sages, the sages and saints who lived in India 10,000 years ago, who I call the spiritual scientists, they describe, right, the experience of this cosmic energy. And that is what they call God realization, is the God experience, is the self-realization. If you have listened to the prophets and messiahs and the avatars of gods that have come, right, all of them point to the same thing. We as human beings have that in our DNA to be able to experience this cosmic energy within us. Now, let me reinforce that point about the mind not being the tool. When we sit in meditation, I have to become completely quiet. I have to make the mind completely quiet. And like I said, if I have to make the mind completely quiet, I have to leave at the outside every notion, everything that I know. I have to leave outside my ego. I have to leave outside my own very identity, who I am. I am Ravi, I have to leave outside, because as long as I'm thinking I am Ravi, as long as in meditation I'm thinking, okay, I'm chanting about God, I'm thinking about God, I'm thinking about my God, right? As long as I am thinking I am meditating, guess what? As long as the I is there, the mind is present. If the mind has to become completely quiet, the I has to become quiet too. If the I becomes quiet, every notion, any notion that I have about anything, including God, has also to become quiet. This is a very important spiritual point. This is an incredibly spiritual point. If you're a spiritual seeker, this point is very important for you. You have to leave on the outside, and especially if you're a religious person, you have to leave on the outside the very notion and any knowledge that you have of God, anything that you have, any understanding Because remember, the mind is finite. So whatever understanding that we have of God today, right now, through our mind, is like the understanding of the taste of the pizza by just looking at it. When we begin to enter deep states of meditation, we have to leave on the outside the very notion of what we think we know of God. And when we travel deep inside, when we go inside and experience infinity, that's when we truly experience the true nature of the God infinite. What our mind has learned until today about God, that is just a caricature, it's a cartoon, it's just a limited view, it's a very limited view, right? It doesn't compare anywhere close to the magnificence of God. It's only when we leave our mind and we travel within and connect with our soul is the handshake to God. When we connect with our soul and experience the infinite, then we understand, or I should say, we experience the nature of God. This is an incredibly powerful spiritual point. Your mind is not the tool to experience God. You can never experience God through your mind. You can experience God only when your mind is completely quiet. At your core, you are peace. Be who you are. Be peace. Be peace.